This is a Hoosier Story, a tale of basketball, farming, and family. My great-grandfather, Lester Tucker, established the family farm in 1931 after fighting in World War I. It's located in the small town of Versailles, Indiana, and spans 238 acres. The Tucker family farm was not like the giant monocrop operations you see in the Midwest today. It was self-sufficient and balanced. They raised many animals such as pigs, chickens, and cows, and grew grain, corn, soybeans, wheat, oats, and hay. They rotated the crops planted each year to ensure the land did not become exhausted of nutrients. In addition to the crops in the field, the family had 2 gardens for smaller produce like herbs and vegetables. Everything was saved, canned, and stored in the cellar. Nothing was wasted. They butchered pigs and cows for meat, made their own butter, baked their own bread, and milked the cows daily. Their trips to the grocery store were few and far between, only needing to purchase a few unprocurable goods such as sugar, coffee, or syrup. With few hired hands to help with the farm, it was up to my dad and his siblings to keep it running. As the oldest, my father shouldered the bulk of the responsibility. He tells me that he vividly remembers the day that his childhood came to an end. He was 5 years old and playing with army men in the dirt out in front of the house. A worker found him and told him to come out to the field. My father remembers replying, "But I'm 5 years old. Why would I come out to the field?" He replied, "Because you're working today, and I need a replacement." No time was wasted in the transition from boy to man. He took on the full responsibility of a farmhand, even driving the tractor as a small child. A typical day started at 5 a.m. There were the regular animal chores in the morning and evening, and then field work to be done in the afternoon. The day typically ended around 8:30, but only if the work was done. The one day that they didn't have to work in the field was on Sunday, when they went to church. Like the small towns of New Mexico, life in rural southern Indiana largely revolved around the church and farming. However, unlike New Mexico, this place has a deep sense of tradition and love regarding the sport of basketball. Local heroes and legends revolve around it, my father being one of them. He remembers walking out to the barn and milking as many cows as possible before heading to a high school basketball game. When he arrived, the gym was always full to the brim with spectators cheering loudly. These were the moments he lived for, when he truly came alive. My father tells me there's a reason Indiana has 6 of the largest high school basketball courts in the world. It's king here. It's the lifeblood of this state. He led his Jacksonville High School basketball team in scoring, rebounds, and assists, and was later initiated into the Ripley County Basketball Hall of Fame. On his way into the ceremony, the woman accepting money at the door looked up at him and said, "Terry Tucker, your money's no good here. I never saw anyone play harder than you." More than 30 years after he left that small town, his basketball legacy still lives on. While basketball was a welcome respite, life on the farm was hard work, and my grandfather a strict warden. Fun on the farm was a relative concept. While throwing down hay from the silo, my grandfather would turn to my dad and say, "Protect yourself." He would smack my dad on the arms and legs with his pitchfork until he could fend him off. On other occasions, they would engage in heated one-on-one basketball games and a makeshift basketball court on the top floor of the barn. My grandfather would play without mercy, kicking my father in the shins and elbowing him in the face until he bled. When I asked my father if he felt this treatment was cruel, he simply replied, "No. That's how it was on the farm. That's how my father was raised, so that's how I was raised. We played rough. You learn to toughen up." While my father chose his own path in life, the farm still exists today. My grandfather, at the ripe age of 82, still goes out every morning to do the chores. He's had to greatly downsize over the years, but still enjoys performing his daily routine. Retirement is not in a farmer's nature. Their connection to the land cannot be broken because it is intertwined with who they are. My father is not exempt from this. You can take the man off the farm, but you can't take the farm out of the man. Every time I listen to my father's stories of his childhood, it's like entering a time capsule. The small family farm is in the twilight of its existence, and that's why it's so important to preserve and document Indiana farm stories such as these. Not only to preserve its legacy, but to grow closer to my father and understand how it molded him into the man he is today. Dad, I love you, and I'm so proud to call myself your daughter. I've loved listening to your stories and look forward to creating new ones with you in the years to come.